Alright, so I'm gonna make this video on wrist health and melee because I feel like I see a lot of people being like, my hands fucking hurt, they're breaking, they're glass, they're shredded, it's fucked. So, yeah, I'm gonna try just to explain what I do to try and prevent some of that stuff. Disclaimer, everyone's like wrists and how they're built is just straight up different from person to person. Some exercises like the ones I might be showing you, like this, like they might feel completely fine, but like to another person they might hurt, and like depending on where the pain is, like sometimes it's like more up here, sometimes it's like more down here. Um, yeah, it's just there's like a whole load of factors that goes into this. So if you come across my video, I also recommend checking out a bunch of other videos too on wrist health. This is like more specifically for melee, but like in other stuff, there's like climbing videos, people who do bouldering, who also have to, keep really good care of their hands and their wrists. So I'd recommend looking at those resources as well. But yeah, this is just what I do and what I know specifically for melee. So first things first, if you notice that you are feeling pain when playing, then number one thing is just to stop playing. Straight up. A lot of people are just like, oh, I'm feeling pain, I should stretch. No, you should not do that. So stretching is like a preventative measure. It's not a cure. That makes sense. Like, if you are stretching when it still hurts, then you're basically causing more pain, more like tears, stuff like that. You want to like, it's like a rubber band. You want to like slowly stretch it out to make it like more loose. If the rubber band's like already like loose or like fucked up, you don't want to keep stretching it more. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, just think of stretches and all that thing as a preventative measure. If you're already hurting, then stop. You need time to heal. Is basically what your body's telling you. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go into stretches first. I do three, kind of four, but mainly three. So usually before every session, I like to hold out my hand like this, take my other hand, and like gently pull. And there's gonna be pressure, kind of like under here and right here. I like to do it like very gently. Some people like go a little further back. This is about like what I can manage for myself. Then I flip my wrist around, do it like this for another few seconds. And then I do the same on the opposite hand, just like this. Then I flip it back around and do it like this. Alright, and after this is done, I let the tension go away, and then just wrist flat. This is basically the second thing. I like to do this also at tournaments between sets. Just kind of like, re-loosens up your hand after like the tension of stretching and all that. And then the other big one I like to do, just I have my hands out like this, and then like squeeze. Like hold out like this, and then like just squeeze. You're gonna feel like your muscles tensing up like here when you squeeze, like kind of like your yeah, see like my wrist kind of squeezing like this. It's pretty good. Like do this like maybe like 20 or so times. I don't really keep count. I just kind of do it for a few seconds since I've been doing these for so long. Just kind of until I feel good. And after that, like I just shake it out. Okay. And then after that, I just let my wrists chill for a bit. Just give like 10-15 minutes. Usually I do these in the morning, then I go and get like a snack, and then I eat, watch a video or two. And then I go into playing unranked or queuing ranked or whatever you want to do. Um, but yeah. So another thing to help with wrist health is just playing less melee overall. I see these like grinders be like, yeah, my wrist hurts, but I'm like doing all these stretches and everything. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, how much melee are you playing? And it's like, oh, I play an average of 8 hours a day. I'm like, yeah, there you go. You basically want to. This is kind of like a practice routine thing, but it also is like very beneficial to just your physical health. Um, the average person can only focus for like around an hour or two. So when you're like playing these long sessions, well, it's good to like get those reps in, and sometimes you just need to do long sessions. Like I frequently will like probably once every like couple of weeks do a long session like that, um, just to make sure my tech and all that's good. But really, you should be aiming for like 1 to 2 hours, just so you're really focused. Because past that point, it's like kind of diminishing returns, and like because the longer of a session is, the more stuff you're putting into your head, and because of that, the more stuff is gonna spill out. If that makes sense, like you aren't gonna like contain everything you learn just from doing all of that. Like sometimes less practice is good overall. You want effective practice, not just like a shit ton of work. Um, so yeah, and if you still like are in the headspace for melee, a good thing to do is just to watch videos during that time. So say if you're usually playing 6 hours, then you should play like maybe an hour, then do like another hour or two of just watching or analyzing melee, and then like go back to playing. So you take like intermediate breaks, so you still get like 3 hours of practice, but it's stretched over a long uh, time period. Because analysis and just like set review and like even just talking with people, that's still really good practice. Like sometimes I feel like people get too much in-game practice and not enough like out-of-game stuff. Um, so the out-of-game stuff is kind of what I think people are lacking in, not just for practice routines, but also for your actual wrist health. And another thing, the last like big thing, is just how you actually hold your controller. This is just going to be for GameCube controller. I've messed around with box before, but I don't have one on me right now. I never owned a box, so I don't really know exactly what goes into that and like which areas kind of like affect you more. Um, for box players, I'll just recommend hovering. Try not to let your wrist settle down. You want to keep your wrist hovering. It's like the same thing with the keyboard. If you are pushing your wrist down while doing this, then you're just still causing problems for yourself. It's the exact same thing with like a keyboard. Um, Another thing, try not to have it on your lap. Try to have the box like elevated on a desk or kind of like midsection level. That's like probably the best for you, from what I understand, from what I hear other box players say. But again, that's just like from what I've heard. Another thing is there's other ergonomic boxes out there, such as like the Prism, where instead of just being completely flat, it's more like uniform, where it's like a more of a triangle kind of thing. That also might be worth looking into if you play box and are getting wrist problems too. But that's just my insight from what I know from that. But obviously, I'm way more familiar with like what goes on with just regular controllers. So yeah, with the regular GameCube controller, um, first things first, L canceling. If you're especially spacey players, and if you're first starting out, do not go all the way in. Do not do the hard press. Just straight up. Don't do that to L cancel. You want to do the soft press, especially if you're floss. The reason why is one, it's just way less effort. It's like twice, like you're doing twice less effort. I guess that's a weird way of saying that, but you get what I mean. Um, just do the analog input, and you'll still get an L cancel. Just practice an Uncle Punch. Put on the L cancel little code, and it'll help you out like right away. You'll see like when you're L canceling. Another thing with the stick, this is gonna probably depend on which character you play, but I play Falco and Fox, and I like to lay it my thumb, like the ball of my thumb, more like right here. Like the ball is kind of like under. See, like I'm pushing it like this. That way I get full range. That way I don't have to like move my thumb like this. I could just like, I get full range like this. That makes sense. If you're like using the tip of your thumb, then it kind of creates this arc and it could kind of cause strain here. I used to do this, but I switched to like being more flat. And that's like a common trope with like other stuff too. So I see people who like hold their controllers more up like this because it's what they're comfortable with. but it creates this like arc. See, you don't want your wrist to be like arced or curved at all. The same like this. If you're playing like this, because it just like creates like more tension. See how it's like not straight. If you watch top players, especially like Mango and like Cody, they keep their controllers like this. You see, your wrist is just pointing down like this, and just in general, like look at that. I'm like my controller is like still in like a really good place, and I'm like not even like really using my fingers to hold it. That way, like all of my fingers in this are completely like loose. Like, see, that looks like I'm going like crazy fast, but I'm like having zero like tension, if that makes sense. So it's all just kind of like economy of movement, that sort of thing. You want to put as little effort into your button presses as possible. Like when you're doing wave shines, don't like grind into like the Y or X button. You want to just be like, think of it as like one smooth motion like this. And all of that will like really, really help. I think that's like the number one thing. Like even outside of stretches and like other preventative measures, is just straightening out your wrists. Make sure it's nice and relaxed. Make sure your controller hovers without you like closing your hands. Like don't squeeze the controller. Like just keep it like nice, relaxed, and like straight out. And just like make sure you're pressing the buttons slowly. Make sure your thumb, like I have never had issues with my thumb ever since I changed from like pointing to like the ball of my thumb. And yeah, that should help you out tremendously. So just do that. Play a little left melee in your practice sessions, and do the stretches beforehand. Don't do the stretches after. So they're like the main takeaways. So yeah, thanks for watching.